Hello my friends, and welcome back to the rabbit hole. I had a realization that it has been a while since I did one of these videos talking about my favorite brands. So as you can probably guess, I figured today is a great day to do one of those videos, and I do want to make this a video that is limited to Korean skincare brands. As always, timestamps and links are in the description box below, but I do want to say something before we get into this video. One thing that is perhaps a little confusing about this type of video is that your favorite brands may not be the same as your favorite products. Just to go ahead and give you a spoiler, one of the brands today, we're going to be talking about, a $10 retinaldehyde serum. Y'all now know the brand, don't you? That's absolutely amazing. Over here in the West, if you are looking for a retinaldehyde serum, you are probably going to pay $70 to $80 at minimum for our brands here. But personally, I don't use retinaldehyde anymore because I do use adapalene since my skin type is acne prone. So it's a respect thing as opposed to I personally use this product. It holds up in other cases. It's just all to say that this is my favorite brands, not my favorite products. And additionally, I am limiting this video to only brands that I've done one of my longtime reviews with. I recently updated that playlist. I don't know how it is that I've been working on these reviews for years and years at this point, and sometimes I don't have everything in the playlist. Anyway, it's all there now, I checked. And one final thing, if you are more new to kbeauty, I do have some videos that may help you out, an intro to kbeauty, as well as a Korean retailer comparison. I'll make sure to have those linked in the description box below, as well as any codes if you would like to get a discount at the kbeauty retailers while supporting this channel. And without further ado, let's get into this top 5 list. So starting off with the number 5 spot, which I feel like this is the hardest spot to pick. I have decided to pick a brand that I think is going to surprise just about all of you. But not me. I'm not surprised. Because I know that when I did one of my trials with this brand, I was so shocked by the results. I could not believe how much my skin loved this brand's products. And that is Axis Y. See, I know some of you are surprised, but it's because of specifically this line, the Made For Me, By Me line featuring Bifida. Okay, so let me talk about why this brand is on my list. First of all, I kind of love this concept. Made For Me, By Me means that they had their viewership, their body of customers vote on what they wanted in their next product line. I feel like once you hear about those kind of things, there's no way to not think, wait, why aren't more brands doing that? And the community voted on Bifida, which I really understand. I like Bifida. We are trialing Bifida products this month in Manyo. Manyo might end up becoming in the number 5 spot after this trial. I'm hoping. Because, products are really the result of the ingredients as well as the formulation. It's never detached. And I trialed these products when my skin was particularly stressed out. It was right around the holidays. I didn't have the highest expectations, and yet these products, they blew me away. My skin looked so smooth. It was glowing, radiant, healthy, less acne in the middle of the stressful holiday season. So these products really proved themselves to me, and are you ready for one final curveball? This is not an essential oil-free brand. Yes, somebody who has had quite a fair bit of reactions to essential oils is actually sitting here saying, yeah, this was some of the best results I ever had. But I think what it comes down to is a couple of things. First of all, to reiterate, essential oils aren't bad for everyone. But secondly, essential oils and allergy is kind of a completely different topic. It's one that's just forgotten entirely too often. I feel like when we look at reactions to essential oils and fragrance as specifically being related to the capability to irritate skin, it just misses this entire aspect of allergy. And the thing about allergy is It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't. We have plenty of people who can eat shellfish, and yet there's some people with shellfish allergy. Plenty of people who can eat peanuts, and then there's people with peanut allergy. And if you look at it in this way, then there are essential oils that have a higher likelihood of causing an allergic reaction. If you want more of a conversation on this, I made a video a while ago about a brand, Henry Rose, that doesn't use certain essential oils in their products, and lo and behold, they actually use the same ones that Axis Y uses in their fragrance, the ones that they deem to be lower in terms of the risk of allergy. I feel like it's a case where I'm forced to respect it given how well it worked for me. Again, this isn't to twist anyone's arm into buying any of these, it's just to chat about what I think is going on well with brands. And listening to customers, using ingredients like bifida, and carefully selecting essential oils that have a lower risk of triggering allergy all comes together to make a great brand. I really respect Axis Y. I feel like my next brand is kind of a lot in line with what I was just talking about. If you are looking for the more affordable options, you gotta go to the beginning of this list. So in the number 4 spot is the brand Donginbi. And this, not unlike Axis Y, it's because this is a brand based in ginseng, and I think that ginseng, just like bifida, are some of the most incredible skincare ingredients where there isn't yet a lot of peer-reviewed published literature, but I look forward to the day when there is. And the catch with some of the ginseng brands, for example, Suasu, is that they are very, very expensive, whereas Donginbi is not too bad. I feel like it's one of those things you always have to have in perspective, because it's not an inexpensive brand, but it's not Suasu prices either, and yet for me, I feel like the results do compare to Suasu. And I've talked about this a bit, but I do want to run through it really quickly. When it comes to ginseng, you can find products that are much more affordable that use, say, ginseng extract. But when you get into Donginbi as well as Suasu, you start to see the active components in ginseng isolated out of the plant and then put back into the product. And it really is something that you see in terms of the results. My results with Donginbi have consistently been amazing. I always try to have one of their products going in my routine, just one at a time, because we're not forever testing Donginbi, but their products are so good and they still do not break the bank. I adore this brand. I've worked with them quite a few times. I do worry about them though. I've noticed that it's a little harder to find this brand at, some of my favorite retailers, just a much more limited selection. So I hope the word gets out there. This is such a good brand. Moving on to my number 3 brand. This is a brand where I do like their products, but it is their devices that has them moved up to my number 3 favorite brand, and that is Medicube. I know that these are not at an accessible price point for everybody. Again, jump ahead one timestamp if this is too much for your budget. However, I've said it before and I will say it again. I get asked all the time, if you didn't have a skincare channel, if you didn't get PR from companies, what would you buy and stick with? And the answer is, for the most part, I would stick with affordable products. I love my La Roche-Posay Adapalene. I love my CeraVe Acne Foaming Cream Cleanser. I would still probably make room for SK2 as well as Donginbi, but I would always make room for these devices by Medicube, as well as an LED mask. There are 4 devices in total that I am very consistent with, and I love them dearly. That is now the Youcera. It wasn't always. This is something I was scared of initially. Radio frequency, it can be kind of controversial, but it has worked wonders for me in this device specifically. I love their EMS device, and I also use the Zip as well as, again, LED. And while those are an initial investment, none of my devices have broken. None of them have broken. And so I feel that in terms of price per use, let's say price per use, I feel like you can really get your money's worth from devices. It does come down to choosing the ones for your needs. That is something that is very important. Medicube has 4 devices. And I have seen some criticisms that 4 devices is too many. But here's the thing, this actually makes sense. They've actually made very powerful devices that I truly believe deliver on their claims, and it's because they're not cramming too much into one device. I hear about products all the time, usually from my email, in which a company is asking me to do a sponsorship where it claims to do all these different things in one product, and it just doesn't logically make sense. In fact, a while ago on Reddit, there was a post of someone who had an LED mask that also had microcurrent in it, which just does not sound like a good idea. You need to move microcurrent on your face. Anyway, she ended up getting some pretty severe burns on her face because one product can't do everything. And this is again why Medicube is in my top 3 list, because they have done a good job on these devices. They have made every one of them to target a different concern, and these devices are individually very good at what they do. And again, I just made a recently updated video about all of my thoughts on those devices if you want to check that out. Let's move on to the number 2 spot. If you have been a viewer of this channel, chances are you might remember me talking about my top 2 favorite brands, and that hasn't changed, but the order of them has. So in the number 2 spot is Beauty of Joseon. Okay, so I absolutely adore Beauty of Joseon. I think, especially as somebody who has a more difficult skin type, I think that what every person needs is more of an emphasis on calming your skin, on gently taking care of your skin versus the Western active heavy approach. Basically, think calming products and then think about your actives. And that's where Beauty of Joseon comes in for me. They have so many calming options in their brand. Most of their products are non-active. They are just gentle and calming. With the exception of the retinaldehyde that I know some of you caught in the intro of this video, again, most of their products calming and very affordable. And that means a lot to me, because another question that I'm asked is, if you had all of the money in the world, if money was no object, what would your skincare routine be? And that is a very hard question for me to answer. I don't make enough money to think that way, and so it does become next to impossible to fully separate out price from products. It will always be a part of how I view things, which is why my top 2 brands are both affordable. I was trying to figure out if it's possible for anybody to really do this, and I think it's more tricky than it may seem on the surface, because you might think, oh, well, probably somebody who is really, really rich could do this. If you have a lot of money, would you just say, well, I'm not gonna bother with $10 products, the $300 product is fine? You know what I mean? You see what I mean? How it's kind of inverted from my philosophy over here of, well, I'm not going to bother with the $300 product because the $10 one is fine. What do you all think? Do you follow my logic here? What do you think? Can you ever really separate price from a product? Anyway, I absolutely adore this brand, even though very few of their products are actually in my absolute favorites, because I love the brand's focus and I love what they're doing at their price point. And I do want to say this Red Bean Water Gel is going to end up in an empties very soon. It's so funny because I thought when I first tried this that I wouldn't end up liking it, and obviously that's not what happened. It's a peptide-rich water gel that sinks in rapidly. I have been using this all over my upper body, all over it, because it's so affordable and I can actually get peptides all over for, you know, $10 for 3.38 fluid ounces, if you catch this at some of the kbeauty retailers I talk about. Anyway, wonderful brand, wonderful brand. So I know some of you have done the process of elimination, which means that my number 1 favorite brand is indeed Isntree. It's almost funny. It's almost funny because Beauty of Joseon is a brand where I really don't dislike any of their products. I do have some products from Isntree that I just don't feel are the perfect match for me. But when I really think about it, this brand also has some of the most unique K-beauty products that I have ever tried. I'm holding up one of them, the Onion New Pair Toner. Just so unique, so incredible. I have backups from this brand. I typically am not a backups person, but the Chestnut BHA 2% Clear Liquid, I love this one. It does everything for me that the Paula's Choice 2% BHA does. And yet this brand is so affordable. Because again, I don't think you can really separate out price from products. I don't think you can. So Isntree, you get to be not only my favorite Korean skincare brand, but also just my favorite brand. And in all fairness, I feel like most of you probably aren't too surprised by this because, you know, as somebody who reviews skincare, I have reviewed a lot of products that are very samey. You know, hyaluronic acid and niacinamide serum, for example. There have to be, at this point, how many of those do you think are on the market? 2,000, 3,000. And I don't mean individual bottles. I do in fact mean separate products. There's just a lot of repetition in the world of skincare. And so it makes me very excited when brands do something different, like using onions in products, like using chestnuts in products, which do have specific benefits for your skin because of the chemical composition of those plants. And so for example, with this onion toner, the reason I love it so much is that as someone with a difficult skin type, I do see the anti-inflammatory effects from onion. I do see additional benefits in this that I don't see when I just use, you know, a hyaluronic acid-based toner. Not to say there's anything wrong with a hyaluronic acid-based toner for most people, but it's this aspect of having a pretty tricky skin type that makes me really respect brands that are trying to do more for us, trying to put more into a product to address more concerns. People like me love that. And my friends, that's my top 5 Korean skincare brands. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what your favorite K-beauty brands are. Very curious to see if we have some crossover. I'm sure it won't be an identical list, but do we have any favorite brands in both of our head spaces? If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next time.